is even if you go for a computer based test or if you go for a pen and paper based test, you will come across same speaking element, same kind of test will be conducted almost like an interview. So yes, while going for your task 2, if you can get back to the main screen, you will see that task 2 is a cue card section or an individual long term section where they will check your sustained speaking ability, so whether you can speak for 1.5 to 2 minutes or not. So for this particular task, let's just look at the task first. Let's say if you have this task asked to you, on it will be given to you printed on a paper A4 size sheet, and you will also be given a notepad to write down your answer or to prepare your answer. So doing so, you can scribble the answer, or you can just make points. You can make web diagrams, spider diagrams, or ray diagrams, whatever you feel like. So just have a look at the question for a second. It is asking you to describe someone you know who does something well, and they have also mentioned the bullet points on which you have to structure your answer. Once you have read it, you will as I said, you will totally get a minute to prepare for it. So once you've read it, the first thing you should do is to write or prepare notes. Now in order to do so, I'll just tell you one thing what which can be helpful for you. uh, right. You may have your own strategy, you may have your own ways to do it, but it's just that I'm sharing this video with you guys. So I just wanted to tell you that you can use this web diagram in order to prepare your answer. So what does this web diagram help us to do, which is, I'll just tell you in a second. Now it shows, you just have to write what the question asks to you. So if the question asks describe a person whom you admire, so write describe someone whom you know who does something well. So you just write the name of the person in the middle here, and try to write things about or things you like about him, or what the person good at. You can write those things here. For the people those who find this task difficult, for them you can always try to figure out four elements, which are, you can talk about the past of the person. Let's say if you're going to talk about Sachin Tendulkar, so you can suppose you have made four to five statements, and then you find yourself troubled, or you may not be able to think and make develop your own answer. Then you just get into the past of the person. You try to imagine how was his past when he started playing. It's not about the dates or the days. It's just about, even if you can recall something, you can, it will give you some idea to build upon your statements. Then you have, then you can talk about his present status, present condition. You can also talk about his future, right? Anything that you can come across, anything you can come across which is just not him, or which is a slight negative aspect of him, even you can quote that. Not totally negative, but yes, try to put something that can allow you to use complex sentences. You can be able to make transit. For example, let's say if I have to talk about Sachin Tendulkar and I have to show how I'm gonna use a transit or a transit sentence here. I may say that he has played really well cricket throughout his life. However, he might not have to retire. He might not have retired early, at, right at this stage. So you can use such sentences, complex structures, and all to give your answers. So this is basically a web diagram where you can, which you can utilize in developing your answers. If not, then you can just make simple notes. You can make points as I suggested earlier, and then while answering for it, you can basically look at this prepared answer, and then speak about it. So all this thing is here in this file. Even you get a lot of materials there is there available online on YouTube and all. But yes, what I have found myself is this specific file which helps you to, develop answers, and help you to enhance your score from 6.5 to 7 to 7.5. Right. Beyond that, yes, we have to work up a lot in order to score 8 band and 8.5 band. But yes, as I mentioned, this video is just to help you to score above 6.5, 7.5. I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but I'm just helping you out in order to score an expert score. That is what it is for. Right now, so speaking part to exam tips, basically what should I say? Well, if you can look here, it says use stock and opening phrases. Now what are these stock and opening phrases? So if you can look further, you see these are stock and opening phrases. Say, let's say if you ask me, Okay, maybe the one which comes naturally to you, you can use that. In my view, I am of the belief that, or you may say, I'm going to talk about, or according to me, I completely agree with this fact, or I see what you're saying. All those phrases can be used. This can be precisely used for section 3 as well. So once you are like, you've started speaking on a particular person, you have to continuously speak for 1.5 to 2 minutes. So remember, no natural pauses are allowed, but no pause. Like one should not take pauses lengthy pauses, because it will appear that you're searching for words, or it will appear that you're not able to make sentences. So just keep the rhythm, keep the fluency maintained, and just be imaginative. Just think a lot about what you want to say. Sometimes it can be said that you can get into in the imagination, where you're just taking the test casually and you're just doing your work, rather than considering it to be an exam. You have to feel that, okay, this is something that you are doing for yourself and your appraisal. Nothing to be worried about. They are not asking any scientific question or anything related to tough tasks of the world or tough topics of the world. It's just about yourself and the question that is given to you, right? And see, now we'll talk about part three. Now, part three of speaking comprise of discussion topic, where you get questions related to task two itself. So if you can look here, or maybe the main task, you can see we have in the task two just talked about someone whom you who has done something well to you, and then you will get questions related to same task, which is what skills and abilities do people most want to have today? Which skills should children learn at school? Such questions will be asked to you. Remember, these questions will be lengthy questions in themselves, because at times people may find it difficult to understand what the question was. So you're totally allowed to ask to repeat the question twice or thrice. Even if you don't get that at that point of time, you can ask them to restructure the question or rephrase the question for you. It is absolutely all right to cross check yourself or ask for the question or repetition, right? Cross checking yourself, even if you have begin answering for a particular question, if you consider, if you realize is in the middle, or if you realize in the middle that, okay, you're not answering it correctly, you can stop and then ask the examiner that whether you're asking it correctly or not. Yes, you can ask the examiner, that whether you're answering the question correctly or not, and then if not, then you can start answering from the beginning, right? So this is what your speaking task is, especially for discussion topic question part 3. You have to give full length answers. You have to make an clarify your stand. You just have to justify your answer. You should not think that I'll just speak and finish my task. You just have to express, show off your English. The best you can say, the best would be the scoring. Okay, remember, try to use aspects of past, present, positive, negatives, comparative answers you can give, right? And try to be imaginative. More or less, the you if you feel burden of the exam, you will not be able to perform. If you are going to take it seriously, it will be helping you out. So this video, the way I'm recording, if I'm going to take it seriously, it will, or if I'm going to look at the the screen or the files or books, I won't be able to record it that smoothly. In the same manner, if you're taking the burden of the the things from in the exam, it won't help you. So you just have to be casual. You have studied well. You have devoted your time. You just have to respond in English. That is what it is. And remember, the English that you're using here is your practical or skillful based English. You don't have to. You're not learning parts of speech. You're not learning all grammatical elements in it. You're just learning. You're learning to use how whatever you have studied all this while in your life in English, and you're using it here on this platform. So just try to visualize this, use this, and speak out. That's it, right? So that is your IELTS speaking task. And right, okay, let me just tell you one more thing here. In part 3, you have lot many questions coming up. So at times you will get difficult questions as well. So difficult questions, they may, as I mentioned earlier, also they may structure complex questions, or they may structure, lengthy questions as well, right? So just be careful with that. And see, I'll give you one example. For example, let's say, um, Do you agree that pay for a job should reflect the level of contribution to community the job makes? So such questions, if you want me to repeat, I can repeat. Do you agree that pay for a job should reflect the level of contribution to community the job makes? Or you may get questions like, could you relate specific sounds to specific seasons? And maybe questions like, what is the competitive role of the society and cooperative role of the society? Right? Such typical questions can also be asked people. I'm just giving you this point because sometimes people may just not listen to the question, or they may just overhear it. So it is difficult if they are not able to understand the meaning of the question. So it is very important for specific task 3, right? More or less it is just the way the more confident you are, the more chances are there for you to get good answers. Here and there two mistakes here or there. If there are mistakes, for grammatical errors also, it won't be hampering your score that much. A variation of zero point 0.5 band here and there will be there. So that is what about this is what about your IELTS speaking task. And I hope you have liked the video, and this just let me know what you feel about it. Maybe I may sound bit in rush or things like that, but yes, my point here to upload this video is to make you enable score like zero point 0.5 band more or a band more. I'm not guaranteeing you that you may score 8 band or 9 band using this. You should know that those scoring such scores require a great precision, great accuracy, and great ability to use your English skills, right? So thank you very much for this, and I hope you will enjoy this video. Thank you very much. That remained to discuss was your evaluation of IELTS speaking, right, task. So this is your IELTS speaking assessment points. Now this is assessed on 4 criteria as mentioned below: fluency and coherence. Now all this while recording the IELTS speaking task 2 video, I have told you regarding maintaining the rhythm or the fluency or the continuity of words coming out of your mouth. So you got to be careful. Whatever you listen to, you got to respond to that. So that is the first thing. Fluency and coherence mix are the mix of two, because it doesn't make sense if you listen something and you answer something, right? It is needless to keep speaking something if it won't make sense. That is what the criteria is, right? So this is the first part, which is fluency and coherence. All these marks are individually awarded for all these 4 categories, right? So let me just show you the categories first: fluency and coherence, lexical resource. Second, the third is grammatical range and accuracy, and the fourth is pronunciation. So let's say if you get 7 in each of them, you will get 7 band score, which is calculated by dividing all these 7 bands. That will be equal to 28, and it will be then an average will be taken out of it. So 28 divided by 7 will be again 7. Yeah. So the first element is fluency and coherence, right? So it says coherence is the ability to form a logical speech, right? So as I mentioned earlier, you have to sound contextually, you got to sound meaningful, right? That is what help in your fluency as well. The other one is lexical resource. Lot many people, they believe that, oh, we got to use good vocabulary, we need to use lexical resource. These are just normal things. If you can observe, and if you can speak when you after thinking properly. So let's say if you're talking about a pizza, so you just have to say it was a delicious pizza. So delicious will add into your lexical resource. And then if you are going to describe everything, it will obviously the vocabulary will come up. In the same manner, if you talk about a jungle, you will talk about forest. If you talk about plants, trees, animals, river, mountains, so all those things make the vocabulary. While if you use all these specific words, naturally the lexical resource and your vocabulary will be maintained. So you don't need to worry about this a lot. It is just if you notice things very carefully, it will help you out eventually, right? The other two elements are grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. Pronunciation, it is not a big matter. Yes, you got to be careful when you practice. You try to understand if the how the pronunciation is like for a particular word. If you find it difficult, always Google it, or you can just ping me, WhatsApp me, whatever. But these days technology is there. You can see this task. No matter I'm making the videos, I want that okay, students should come to me. But naturally speaking, you can easily catch hold of IELTS in your own ways, in the way you will prepare yourself. So it is not a big task. Okay, the grammatical range and accuracy. Yes, this is one important thing. for a 7 band, 6.5 band answer, it is not that big thing, because grammatical range and accuracy, all four elements, if you are working out properly, an easy 7 or 7.5 you can get. As I mentioned earlier, also, if one or two errors are there, you can easily score 7 or 6.5. It is not a big thing again, right? And see, for certain words, like, pronunciation matter a lot. Like, for example, quiet, right? There is the class is quiet these days. So quiet meaning it is quiet, silent. Not many people are coming to the class. Or if suppose similar word comes up and you cannot pronounce it clearly, it will make like hindrance in the marking. So when you say, I have quite a lot of change in my pocket. So quite here is denoting the amount of the change that you have. So quiet and quiet. So this is how pronunciation will work out. So it is not a big thing, as I'm mentioning every second time, that if you can work on it, if you can observe the things, it will be easy for you. Then comes the assessment, actual assessment, what I mentioned earlier. If you score 7 in fluency and coherence, lexical resource, you get 7. Grammatical range and accuracy, if you get 7, and pronunciation, if you get 8, the score will be total scoring will be divided by 4, and average will be taken, and that will come to 7, right? So you can have a look. And I would also like to mention that the this score was awarded as full band scores in the past till June 2007. Now, you get like partial bands as well, 6.5 or 7.5 in bands in IELTS speaking. It should be just band. It is just an error here. So 7.5 band in IELTS speaking and writing. So this was one thing. Now another point I would like to mention here is, remember, in continuity of the previous, or the previous section of this IELTS speaking video, you should remember that you may not sound monotonous. It should not appear that a radio is turned on when you are participating in your, or you're sitting for the test. You need to use elements of surprise, elements of disgust, right? All those things you should use in order to make your answer lively, right? For example, if something you want to talk about is imaginative or is quite surprising, you may just say, "Oh, what was surprisingly," or just, you can just begin your answer saying, "Surprisingly, it didn't turn up nice," or "it turned up nice," right? Or you may use, "Unfortunately, it turned out not turned out nice." So likewise, you can use surprisingly, unfortunately, or you may use typical words which are, which will also enhance your lexical resource and vocabulary. So I'm just trying to give you an idea. I'm not just giving it, everything on plate, but it is just, there are so many things when you discuss on real time basis, and when you discuss interactively, then only it comes out. But yes, you try to give an answer which is lively, which has more colors to it. So that is the point. All right. So I'm just saying this because people will try to judge me and say things, but I'm sure that with using all these elements, with whatever I mentioned in this video, you will easily be scoring 6.5, 7, 7.5. That is what my point is. Thank you very much.